Hey everyone, it's me, Andy,
And I'm Sean.
and this is the Commander's Brew.
This week, slow infect.
Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Commander's Brew here on YouTube. You know what to do if you want to help us out. You can just go down and hit subscribe right here on YouTube. Leaving a comment is always super helpful also. And of course, if you want to help directly, you can go to patreon.com/commandersbrew. Help us get these shows made by directly supporting us. Of course, during this time, it's absolutely wild. So, you know, any kind of support from whether it's Patreon or simply just watching the show is so much appreciated. So we totally get what's happening. And, you know, anything you can do helps. And if it's just watching, that's great. We're happy to be here, honestly, to provide that for everyone during the pandemic. Let's call it what it is. But yeah, anyways, patreon.com/commandersbrew. You can get in on the Discord that way and help us actually brew the decks. It's a lot of fun. We had some fun and some help brewing this one. And this one is a very interesting one, to say the least. I can't wait to get to it. Anyways, let's start talking about this week's deck tech. And this week's deck is one that kind of sounds wrong when you say it. It sounds like you're not supposed to do this. It's called Slow Infect. And I'll be
Right.
honest, it was inspired by last week's deck, which is Sean's Fast Zombies deck. He took something that's traditionally slow. Zombies are traditionally shambling and very slow moving, and turn him fast, right? Give him haste, a la those movies from like the 2000s when they started remaking all the zombie movies. Well, in taking something very slow and making it fast, I kind of wanted to take something fast and make it slow. And also, I was actually kind of inspired by the fact that there's a global pandemic a little bit. Because I was thinking, like, well, not to make light of the situation, but instead, like, find something positive in it, right? So, taking an Infect deck and seeing if we can do anything interesting with it. So we,
Subtle shade on infect
yeah, it is
decks.
for sure.
See if we can do anything interesting with infect.
Well, it turns out it's pretty tough because someone even argue that this isn't super interesting. No, not really. It's actually pretty different, and it's just a matter of like whether it's actually viable. It's not. It actually is pretty interesting, I think. But
You know what? I will say this. We choose wild deck ideas here on this show,
yes,
and they don't always deliver the most playable, effective, powerful deck, but we learn from the journey. The journey
it's true.
is just as fun.
I agree. I agree. There's many decks that we've built on the show that even some that we've put together in real life after the fact, and then I've just immediately taken them apart.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's see. Let's see what this one's all about, though. Okay, so Slow Infect. I know what you're all saying. This is not going to fly. Well, it's not going to fly because we have Sidar Kondo as one of our commanders who's going to make it so that your creatures sort of fly. But anyways, our commanders here, and this is going to be weird. We're actually not using blue for this Infect deck. We're starting with Abzan colors, and outside of Infect, it's a slow deck. So what happens when you're going to play Infect, right? So you want to get creatures through, right? We got to get these little creatures through. So Sidar Kondo is a great commander to have here. So 2 green white, it's 2/5 legendary human knight with flanking. Not super important there, honestly. But the creatures your opponents control without flying or reach can't block creatures with power 2 or less. And of course, this has
Can't
partner.
block the littles.
Can't block the littles, and of course, most of your Infect creatures are quite little. So Sidar Kondo is a great creature to get out there on turn 4, so that you can swing with the Infect dude you played on turn 3. Really,
Yeah.
really good. Our partner is an interesting choice, and it will kind of explain the second part of the deck strategy. So we know about Infect, right? We know we want to get in, and we want to get in as quickly as possible. And you want to like team up on one player to get them out of the game as quickly as possible. The downsides there are that then everyone else is just going to come for you. In fact, people are just going to come for you if you play Infect anyways, right? That's
That's
kind of
right.
what
You
happens.
drop that infect creature,
Yeah.
and you have a target on your
You've
back.
100% do, and rightfully so.
Butler runs. He's got a mirror tribal deck, and there's that one mirror that makes mana.
Yeah.
that happens to have Infect that he has no intention of ever doing Infect damage with. But as soon as he drops it, everyone's like, Infect deck.
Yeah, Infect deck, kill it. After. Yeah. And he's like, it's just to give me one colorless mana. Yes, so I want you to take the partner that I've chosen for Sidar Kondo.
Okay, so if we're expecting to have a target, why not Ikra Shadiki the Usurper? 3 black green, legendary Naga Wizard, 3/7. Big butt. Ikra Shadiki has menace, and whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, Sidar Kondo makes that very easy. You gain life equal to that creature's toughness. Great.
Sweet, right? So Ikra Shadiki being able to gain us 7 life if she attacks and hits. Sidar Kondo being able to gain us 5. So what we want to do here is that because we're an Infect player, we know people are going to come for us. We just know it. So we want to put up the shields. We want to do a bit of a pillow fort, which is a deck style that I basically hate. It's like taking two things that you kind of hate and then putting them together and being like, let's see if this is okay to play.
I mean, if there's one thing I know, it's 2 wrongs do make a right.
We will see about that. But that's the idea. So we're kind of slowing the game down with an Infect deck and wanting to like make it so that people either can't attack us or it's a nightmare for them to attack us. And then for us to actually kind of slowly chip away with Infect. The good thing about slowly chipping away in this case is that we only have to hit them for 10. Right? We only have to get them to 10 damage because we're playing with these Infect creatures. So knowing that that's our strategy, knowing that those are our commanders, let's take a look at the neat moves.
Working on a neat
moves. So neat moves start and finish, hopefully, with our Infect creatures. Now, obviously, we run the gamut of the normal Infect creatures you can play in these colors. I think there's like I left out some of the just like straight up vanilla ones because we just don't really need that many of them. So, but we have a couple here that are just excellent, and I've picked 3 of the actual best Infect creatures that we have. Starting with Ichor Rats. This one's great because it's 1 black. It's a 2/1 with Infect, and when it enters the battlefield, each player gets a poison counter. Now, if you know about this style of deck, we just want to get things started, right? You get them an Infect counter, you give them a poison counter, and then we can start to build on that momentum in many different ways, actually. So Ichor Rats is a great one to include. We also have Hand of the Praetors. 3 and a black for a 3/2 with Infect. Other creatures you control with Infect get +1/+1, which is always good. We can still win with like a bit of a pumped up creature attacking, like a more classic Infect style, but that's not really what we're trying to do here. Still, it can happen. And then more importantly, whenever you cast a creature spell with Infect, target player gets a poison counter. Always very good. Again, nice to get things started if we can have this guy down and then play some of our Infect creatures. And then finally, Spinebiter is a great one to finish people off when they have enough Infect counters on it. It's 4 green with Infect. It's a 3/4. It's a beast, and you may have Spinebiter assign its combat damage as though it weren't blocked. I played a couple test games with this, and of course, the computer did not prioritize killing the Infect player enough. But, but you know, basically, I was able to ramp into a Spinebiter and actually kill someone with it really quickly. And it was the finishing blow that I needed. So this creature is there for that reason, right? It's going to be there. But as you'll see as we keep going here, actually swinging to attack is not really something that we want to do that often. This is a pretty rare thing for an Infect deck. We actually don't really want to attack very much. But Sean, why don't you take the next category of cards, which I think we all expect to be in an Infect deck. And while this isn't exactly the greatest colors for it, we still have some nice options.
We're talking proliferation. And of course, recently War of the Spark gave us Grateful Apparition, 1 and a white for a flying 1/1 spirit. And whenever a Grateful Apparition deals combat damage to a player or a planeswalker, proliferate. Excellent. 1/1s in the air, Sidar Kondo means it's very tough to block. I mean, if you've already got a flyer, you can block it. But so I guess that doesn't really change with Sidar Kondo. But still, repeatable proliferate, excellent. We've also got Evolution Sage, another War of the Spark. Man, War of the Spark really made this deck possible.
Yeah.
Evolution Stage, 2 and a green, 3/2. Whenever a land enters the battlefield, proliferate. That's serious landfall for you. That's an amazing proliferate trigger. Unlike the Grateful Apparition, you can often get 2 or 3 lands in play in a turn, so that's a lot of proliferation. And of course, Contagion Clasp, a classic 2 artifact, and when it enters the battlefield, you put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. That could kill a utility creature, maybe a mana dork, or just touch someone with a -1/-1, because as you proliferate for 4 and a tap with Contagion Clasp, you can shrink that creature while you're getting those poison counters up and up and up and up. Because as you know, or maybe you don't, you can proliferate counters on players as well. Poison counters count.
Exactly. Now you're probably wondering, like, if I was going to proliferate an Infect, why did I include blue? Blue has so many great proliferate options, has so many great Infect options, truly. Why didn't we include blue? Well, I think because if we went blue, then we're just an Atraxa Infect deck, right? Like Atraxa just makes the most sense if we're going to build that, if we're going to add a commander to that. So like, I just didn't want to do that. That's, to me, that's been done. We've seen the decks, you know, you can go look that up and find those decks anywhere. This is a different deck. This is a different kind of deck, and we're purposefully avoiding blue here. Maybe to our detriment, but also maybe not. Actually, blue would have some pretty sweet options for Pillowfort deck too. Don't think I didn't think of that also. But you know what? We're not going to do blue. We're not doing it. We're not going 4 colors. We got 3 colors here, and this is what we're doing.
I mean, to your credit, if I didn't know this, if I sat down at the table and you put down Ikra Shadiki and Sidar Kondo, your first few plays are a little proliferate-y, like, it's probably possible we don't see an Infect card for a little while, so maybe we'll give you that time to kind of surprise build up your fort.
Definitely. Actually, I think part of the strategy in this deck would be to not run out your Infect creatures as soon as you can. Like, if you have if you have a starting hand of non-Infect creatures, if you just have just a bunch of other random stuff, even if it is some of the proliferate, that's actually fine. You might not want those creatures right away. So, and we'll get to that. And we'll get to those cards in a second. But one of the reasons why this is one of the things that makes this deck a little bit different is the ways we can get the Infect creatures through and the ways we can get the poison counters on without attacking. So first, we run a package of equipment, and they all kind of look like this. A Sorcerer's Wand. 1 mana for an artifact. It's an equipment. Equipped creature has tap. This creature deals 1 damage to target player or planeswalker. If the creature's a wizard, it deals 2. I don't think there are any wizards in here. And it equips for 3. So Sorcerer's Wand is an amazing way, especially late in the game, to finish someone off or just to get things started, right? Just to be able to tap and throw a poison counter on is actually, that's very, very powerful. Similar equipment looks like Viridian Longbow, which again is 1 mana for an equipment. Equipped creature has tap. This creature deals 1 damage to target creature or player and equips for 3. It's essentially the same thing without the upside of the wizard thing. And then we have Sure Strike Trident, which is 2 mana for an equipment. Equipped creature has First Strike and tap. Unattached Sure Strike Trident. This creature deals damage equal to its power to target player, and it equips for 4. So basically, you kind of like get this weird like fling ability. So and the awesome thing is that you can have this on your creature, with your Infect creature. If someone tries to either attack if someone tries to attack you and you're blocking, you can do the first strike damage first, shrink the creature down so that it's not big enough, because obviously Infect deals damage and -1/-1 counters, right? So you can shrink the creature down so now it's no longer big enough to kill your guy. Then you can unattach Sure Strike Trident and still throw it at the player. You know, if that were a move that you were looking to do, right? Very cool.
I think we need a category above neat move, because this move is super neat.
Sure Strike Trident is a pretty cool little Infect card, but normally not at all something you're really looking for, I don't think. You know,
I don't know if I've ever you know, I feel like I must have read every Magic card at some point in my life by now.
Yeah.
But I have no memory of this. I feel I would remember the weird leather belts holding it in the air.
Yeah, what's going on with that? What's that background? Know. Is it being held over water? What's going on there?
Oh, I mean, I'm imagining it's vertical, like where that's a wall.
Oh, okay. Weird. Yeah, either way, it's some weird stuff going on with Sure Strike Trident. Numerous belts holding it down. But this is a great card in this deck, man. For 1 more, essentially. Whereas, like, you have to spend 3 to move the Sorcerer's Wand and the Viridian Longbow along to other creatures when you want to finish a game off. Sure Strike Trident, it's only one more and you get to deal all the power. So like throwing this on even your like a 3 power or 4 power infect creature can be the end of the game for some people.
This is amazing. This is an amazing piece of equipment. I gotta keep an eye on this
Yeah.
one. This is a surprising discovery for me.
It is a bit of a surprise discovery, yeah. Power.
Can we talk about the actual fort for a second?
I would
Any
love-
good pillow fort has a good fort.
Yeah.
We talked about the poisonous pillows.
Yes.
So I know you got Pariah in here. That's an enchantment aura that goes on a creature. It's 2 and a white, and all damage that would be dealt to you is dealt to enchanted creature instead. So you get to, they can't fight you. Similarly, Protector of the Crown, 5 and a white, giant soldier, 2/5. There's a big butt there. Can get in with Sidar Kondo technically because of the 2 power. But when Protector of the Crown enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch. My favorite multiplayer commander mechanic ever made.
Yeah.
All damage that would be dealt to you is dealt to Protector of the Crown instead. I guess if you have this in Pariah, you get to choose like one of those replacements effects.
I think so, yeah.
You can't do both.
No.
And then we've also got, so here's a neat part. Ghostly Possession, 2 and a white, enchantment aura creature. Enchanted creature has flying and prevent all combat damage that will be dealt to and by enchanted creature. Does that count for redirected damage to Pariah and Protector of the Crown?
I don't know. I actually was wondering this myself. I was like, well, it is combat damage that you're getting. It's just redirected, I think. I think it does work. If it doesn't though, it's actually still totally fine. We're still totally happy having basically the ability to make any of our creatures what's it called? Guard Gamazoa or Fog Bank.
Right.
Like, those cards are still totally fine. And the fact that we can turn any of our creatures into it is really good.
I imagine like the only way, like at that point they can only be destroyed by like a destroy effect. So like I'm happy to put that on a little chumpy creature.
Exactly.
Not infect. And I know you've got the older and better version, inviolability.
Yeah.
Inviolability. I think so. I think it's a 1 and a white aura on a creature, prevent all damage that would be dealt to enchanted creatures. So it doesn't give it flying, so you can't protect the air unless you already fly. But this one will definitely work in conjunction with like if you put that on a Protector of the Crown or something that also has Pariah, pretty good.
Yeah, pretty cool. So just, it's very difficult to deal combat damage to us at that point, or any damage depending on what it is.
Yeah.
So that's a little thing. We also have, I think, a pretty obvious include in any Pillow Fort deck. We have Ghostly Prison and a couple of cards like it. Ghostly Prison is 2 and a white for the enchantment. It says creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each creature they control that's attacking you. So we have this one. We have like Sphere Safety, which is like the number of mana they have to pay is the same as like number of enchantments that you have.
Yes.
And we also have Windborn Muse, which is the creature version of this. So a couple of these. We're not super heavy on these, but you got to include a couple because this is why we included white in the deck, honestly, is to get these sort of classic Pillow Fort abilities.
Yeah.
We also have a couple fogs. Respite is a really good one. 1 and a green for an instant. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. You gain 1 life for each attacking creature. So this is like a little bit of life gain. Prevents maybe some out of nowhere crazy attack that was coming at you. I think fogs are a little underrated in Commander in general. I think that there's room for these in certain types of decks and stuff like that. So we haven't included a ton. I think there might be 2 or maybe 3. I think there's at least 2 because I also included the cycling one, which is, I think, a pretty solid commander card. You want to take these next 2 here?
Sure. Angel of the Dire Hour, 5 white for a 5/4 flying angel with flash. So if you cast it, if it entered the battlefield and you cast her from your hand, you get to exile all attacking creatures. Period. Flat. I mean, that's 7 mana. It's a hefty price for it, but you are getting a lot.
Yeah.
A one-sided exile. I love it. It's just save that till they want to come at you. We've also got Blazing Archon. This is a frustrating card to play against for sure. 6 white. Flying, 5/6. Creatures can't attack you. Technically, they can attack planeswalkers you control. I don't know if there are any in here.
There's 1.
Maybe not. There's 1?
Yep.
So, okay. So, Blazing Archon won't protect them, but
Nope.
at that point, who cares?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yep. I mean, again, this is another the raw power of this card. Like, even if this card only buys you a couple of turns of like players' turns of not attacking you, that can be really good. So, because when this guy hits the battlefield, it's a must kill. People hate not being able to attack. They hate it, as
Yeah.
well they should. It's
I
one of
mean,
the
you
key
paid
mechanics.
9 for it. That seems fair.
It's true. It's true. And to have it be destroyed by like a 3-mana murder or like a Doomblade or something really feels bad. But, but you know, it's again, it's there to stall and to let us buy us some time so we can hit players with that infect damage. Finally, we have as a part of the fort, some Discord helpers actually reminded me of these cards. Chiefy, and
Chiefy.
yeah, and lol what. Which is a really great name. Lol, what? They reminded me of the various lands that help us out with this deck. So recently, we've got the Labyrinth of Scophos from Theros Beyond Death. It taps to add colorless, and you can pay 4 and tap, remove target attacking or blocking creature from combat. So you remove it from combat, which means there's no damage dealt to it, no damage dealt by it. All the stuff that would happen is no longer in combat. It doesn't untap though, because it's not a Maze of Ith. Keep that in mind.
Still tapped.
We also have Core Haven, which is an old school card. It's legendary. It's legendary. Tap it to add colorless, and you can pay 1 and a white to tap and prevent all combat damage that would be dealt by target attacking creature this turn. So it's pretty similar. Removing it from combat is like pretty similar to just preventing all the damage it does. We also got like the one that the Ixalan flip artifact that flips into the thematic compass. That's right.
Yeah.
We stopped short of including actual Maze of Ith just because it's kind of a spell. It's not really a land because it doesn't tap for mana, and it's kind of expensive. So I was like, you know what? There's enough good cards that do pretty solid impressions of Maze of Ith these days. That you know what? I don't think we really need it.
Yeah.
And like taking up your land drop for it, like if that's one of your anyways, you don't have it take up a land space in your deck, but sometimes it can eat up your land drop for a turn, which can be bad. Right. So yeah, that's the idea. That's what we're going for. We're trying to listen. You're going to be playing archenemy with this deck. It's just the way it's going to be. Once people find out that you're first of all, sometimes that just happens playing Pillow Fort. People are like, oh no. No. I need to be able to attack, and I need to be able to attack everyone. So I'm coming for you first because you're trying to stop me from attacking. It's like, well, okay.
People don't like pillows.
People
see a Pillow Fort go up. They're like, I don't know. You don't look scary now, but Pillow Fort deck was ever just a Pillow Fort deck. So.
The only thing that I've kind of shied away from is like mass life gain. Like there's a little bit of life gain here and there. Like Ikra Shadiki can give us a bit, obviously. We have that one, we have that like fog that can gain some life. There's like 3 or 4 cards that can gain us life. So we're not really leaning on the life gain part of it. We're so like, I think that's like, I'm really down on that sort of style these days. I don't like games that go on forever. And I know that this is going to make games last a bit longer, but hopefully not, because we are working hard towards half of our deck is our win con, right? Like it's not like this is all Pillow Fort and I've got like 4 or 5 win conditions. No, there's like 20 win conditions here that we can work with. So try it out, right? Try it out. You're gonna be playing archenemy because people hate infect decks and people hate Pillow Fort decks. So why not get them both together? I think they actually work surprisingly well together. I'm very interested to see how this plays out in a real game. I'd be very, very interested to hear from you if you actually put a deck like this together, or already have maybe even a deck that does this.
I agree. There's something about like a regular infect deck. We all know you got to get the infect person. But if the Pillow infect deck is going after a separate player from me, I might be like, well, I know we're supposed to go after the infect player, and I know I will be eventually the target, but I can't spend all these resources against that Pillow Fort. I can't get through it by myself. Like, I don't know if it's worth it. Maybe I'll just let the Pillow Fort take you down a couple of notches before I switch into that mode.
But if you don't think you can take the Pillow down by yourself, that means you got to team up with everyone while it's happening. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like while they're still there. Yeah. That's what's going to happen. And the problem kind of is that like, even if you do have someone, let's say like, I don't know, let's say somehow, Sean, you and I did have some sort of agreement going on where I'm trying to take down Butler and you're trying to take down Alistair. Well, like me hitting the same person you're hitting doesn't actually help.
That's right.
I'm
Yeah,
not even
like
dealing damage
yeah.
to them. So
Yeah.
it's tough. Like you've kind of fully worked your way into an archenemy deck here. So, you know, if that doesn't sound like something you're at all interested in, you're probably not going to like this deck. But if it's something you're like, I'm willing to try this out. Or like, sure, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my Infect deck that I have had for a long time, episode 2, since I've had it, and I'm going to change it into this deck because it's a lot of the same cards, all the same Infect creatures basically, and a lot of that type of stuff. And then I'm going to take the Pillow Fort side of it. I'm going to get that together, and then I'm going to try it out. So luckily, I'm not having to buy a whole deck here. So if you have an Infect deck, which like a lot of people do, maybe borrow those Infect cards for like a bit, throw in these other 20 or 30 cards or whatever that are really cheap, by the way. We're going to get to the budget report in a second, but it's not an expensive deck. And let's see and see how it plays out. Anyways, let's get to the surprises and discoveries. We already kind of went over some of them. Sure Strike Trident was really neat. There's a couple other things in there. But I want to rediscover a card that we discovered a long time ago. And I mean that when I say it, because I don't recall anyone ever talking about this card until we were talking about it.
We were on this card when it was a quarter, a gumball.
Yeah. No one was playing this card. And now it's $6. It's Reconnaissance. It's kind of like watching your own child grow up and go to college. Reconnaissance is a single blue for an enchantment. You pay 0 to remove a target attacking creature that you control from combat and untap it. So you kind of Mazavith your own creature only. But the way, as I'm sure a lot of you are probably familiar with, especially if you've been listening to this show for a long time, but we haven't talked about it in a while. So if you're more of a recent listener, you don't know it. But Reconnaissance has this great thing where you can just attack with everyone. And then the ones that get blocked and are going to die, you just pop, remove them from combat. And everything's cool. And even the ones that don't get blocked and that do connect at that elusive end of combat stage,
which is after the damage stage.
After damage, exactly. You just Reconnaissance those guys, and it's like your whole team has vigilance. It's amazing.
1 mana, your whole team has vigilance and can't be killed in combat with combat damage.
Attacking.
That's right. That's right.
Only attacking. It doesn't work for blocking. Like you can't remove your blockers, but attacking.
What
absolutely.
a great card! So
it's so great for this deck because we can just willy-nilly swing with all of our Infect guys. And sure, you're going to block a couple of them? Guess what? I don't care. Pop. Reconnaissance, and then the ones that get through. It's amazing.
Well, did you take 3 Infect damage? Pop.
Now, guess what? They got vigilance, so they're not tapped. So yeah, Reconnaissance is a card. We haven't talked about it for so long because it got expensive, but it's still great, and I'm still happy about it. And this is a great card.
Yo, hands up if you were listening when we first discovered Reconnaissance.
Do you remember what deck this would have been? What show this would have been?
It was
early.
Like it had to be like around 10. Around episode, it was early.
Yeah. Was it the Derivi one? Was it Wizards Tribal? I think it was. Wizards Tribal, which, if I'm not mistaken, I think is episode 3. Because that was the untapping deck. Yeah. I think that's what this was. Yep.
Yeah.
Anyways, very cool. I shouted out our Discord helpers. We had a lot of other helpers, by the way, in there, but it's just so many great people in there. You guys know who you are. I was very vague with the help this time around. I just kind of asked for Pillow Fort cards because I just wanted to get a general help there, and I didn't even tell them the color identity at first. So I got a lot of cool stuff. Turns out red would have been amazing in this deck, but again, that's a little aggressive for me. Like red is great with all the fling type of effects and being able to deal that damage, and there's even some great auras that tap and deal damage equal to the power and all that kind of stuff. So red is a very viable option for something like this. But again, this is a different kind of deck. We're not trying to do that as fast as possible. So we pulled back on the red there. But we talked about our Discord helpers, talked about our surprises and discoveries. It's time for the budget report.
This is where we take all of the cards and we put them behind a nice cushion of stacks of cash, a nice cushion of
Ooh.
stacks of cash, and then some of them will peek out and try to poison you, and those are the ones that are in the deck.
Pop, 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 pop.
Pop, 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 popcorn.
Yes, so this deck comes in at the market price on TCG is about $110. It was lower earlier when I was looking. Something jumped up or something like that. It was a little lower. It was like 90 something. The low price is under $60, so $59. But we have a couple of things in here that we can, as always, we're always thinking about budget. There's ways to cut this down. So the number one most expensive card in the deck is Phyrexian Arena. That's right. I included Phyrexian Arena. It's a $10 card. It's great. You know it. 1 black for the enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you draw a card and you lose a life. I would definitely recommend you don't cutting this card. It's $10. I didn't realize it was $10. You don't need it because guess what? The Monarch exists, and this deck is so built to play the Monarch. So just play another Monarch card instead of this, and it's going to be as good, basically. Or play the creature version of this, or play. There's so many other options to play instead of this
Underworld Dreams, the enchantment version.
Exactly. Yeah. Like play all those cards instead of this. I actually even only kind of left it in because I was like, holy crap, it's $10. So yeah.
I mean, it is on theme being Phyrexian.
Yes, that's true. That's true. It is. That's true. You know what? Keep it. Whoops. I just knocked over a light.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you hinted at it earlier, but Reconnaissance, formerly a gumball, is now a $6 card. I mean, it makes sense. Like it costs 1 to get down. You can get it down for so cheap, and it does so much.
Yeah.
Like you can't even get Your Team Has Vigilance this cheap anymore, which is what
true.
this at least is.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and there's just nothing that replaces this, so you'll have to, maybe you can make a cut in somewhere else. Like maybe there's another $5 card you want to cut instead of this because this one's really, really good, but not like super essential. Again, we're not really trying to attack that much. Reconnaissance is just a thing that makes it possible. And finally, our third most expensive card is Anguished Unmaking. 1 white instant. Exile target non-land permanent. You lose 3 life. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty replaceable effect, to be honest. Obviously, this is like the most efficient, sort of best version of it. I love brewing black-white decks because we get access to cards like this, like Utter End. Which is like, this is great. This is artifact and enchantment removal as well as planeswalker removal. It's creature, it's everything. It's awesome. So I just love including them, but this one's up at around $5-6, so you can cut it because there's a lot of different options that are kind of the same thing as this.
I love me a D-Spark.
Exactly. Sean's been talking about D-Spark a lot lately, and I'd say definitely you can replace it. So right there, if you cut even if you cut just Phyrexian Arena and Anguished Unmaking, that's $15. You're down under $100 for the market price there. If you cut the Reconnaissance too, that's like you're down like it's like 90, like 80 something dollars. It's nuts. So you can make this work for even an extreme budget, I would say. It's just whether or not everyone's still going to attack you ruthlessly though. Like whether or not you care about that is all you have to ask.
Yeah.
So what about favorite cards for this one?
What's your favorite?
Well, we talked about the Phyrexians and how it's on theme. Well, I ended up really liking Phyrexian Reclamation. Single black for an enchantment. This is from the Commander decks most recently, I believe. Pay 1 and a black and then pay 2 life, and you can return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. I love this ability. I had a thing going in a test game where I had Angel of the Dire Hour, the one that flashes in and exiles attacking creatures. And I had enough mana to just be able to loop that. So I would put her out, exile everything that comes in. Next attack, I would just block and then get this thing back. And it was wild. So Phyrexian Reclamation was really good. And it's a nice recurable recursion card. Like
it got cheap too because of Mystery Booster.
As well. Was it ever expensive?
No. It was up to like $4 or $5.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh man.
It comes down so cheap.
I love Mystery Booster is like the best thing that's ever happened to Commander, I think.
It might be.
It brought down so many cards that were up in that $5, $6, $7 range down to like less than $1. or around that price at the very least.
Wizards thinks.
Wizards looks, and I don't even know if they like. It feels like they didn't even really realize that anything like that would happen. They were just like, oh well, here's this weird thing we're doing, and then turns out it drops the price of so many different cards. It's great.
Yeah.
What about you? What was your favorite?
Throne of the High City.
Yes.
I already alluded to that. My all-time favorite commander mechanic is Monarch, and Throne of the High City is a land. Taps for colorless or foreign tap, sack this, you become the Monarch. I run this in many decks. Not every deck. Sometimes, like if it's a really strapped for colors and like it's a 4 or 5 color, I might not run it. But if I'm 3 or less, I'm putting this in the deck. I don't always get to use it, but it is such a wonderful option to have. If you've got a good board position, you're like, you know what? I think if I become the Monarch now, I can really protect this for quite some time. So here we go. Cash in this land.
Yeah.
And it's probably late game anyway, so you, by definition, you don't need that 1 mana. You're not going to like be like crying for it.
Yeah, definitely. Great way to get the Monarch back if it's been taken from you and you're finding it difficult to get it back, obviously. Might not just be the start of it, because we've got a few Monarch things in this deck, which is great. So yeah, there you have it. That is the full, complete, slow Infect deck tech. Again, I am so curious about how this actually plays. I would imagine it's going to be a bit of an archenemy game, but can you win? I think it's possible. If you have any suggestions, even some tweaks you think that might help this deck, I'd love to hear it. Hit us up in the comments of our YouTube video there, or hit us up on Twitter at Commanders Brew. We're always tweeting and chatting with people that way. And of course, like we said, check us out on Patreon if you want to get involved into the Discord and actually start helping us brew these decks, because that's something that happens there too. Thank you to everyone who listened again this week, and thank you very much to TCGplayer. Go check out the deck list through their affiliate link. If you're in the United States, you'll be able to order from them, and we'll be able to get a nice little cut. So that's like a cool way to support the show while still getting the cards you want for a good price. And of course, if you're in Canada, check out Wizard Tower, wizardtower.com, and use our coupon code. Great. Well, thanks again, and we will see everyone next week. Stay home, stay safe. Peace.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you love what we're doing, consider supporting the show by going to patreon.com/commandersbrew.
And if you want to get any of the cards from our deck list, go to our TCGplayer affiliate link below.
That helps us out too, and for a free way to help us out, consider sharing the show with some friends. Like and subscribe, add a comment or two.
See you later.
Bye.